So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. iPhone 14. Here's my cons of this phone months later. Now, if you think I don't like this phone because I'm making a cons video and you want to get down there in the comments and start hating and saying, well, if you don't like the phone so much, why don't you just give me the dang phone? Oh, you're an iPhone hater. Come on, man. You know what you need? You need a cookie. You see the cookie? The cookie's making its appearance again from the last video. But you're not going to get this juicy homemade cookie today because you're hating. So we're going to have to put it back in its homemade wrapper and get back on with the video. So the first one is going to be that this iPhone was good, but it never felt great. Got some crumbs on there. See, look at that. Look at that. You're just missing all that crumb action right there. It was good, but this phone was never feeling like a great iPhone upgrade. And that's going to be because of the fact that it just feels so much like the iPhone 13. Every time I use this phone, I'm just like, look, man, did Apple just get me with another 13? And the answer is not 100%, but close. Close. It feels so similar. Same notch, same build, same body, same chip. I mean, come on. You could have just get an iPhone 13 and save a little bit of money. But I do prefer the cameras that came on board with this one. Now, the next one is this phone never really felt its price either because the 13 exists. So what I'm saying is, for the money, there's phones that have 120 hertz displays. There's phones that have more cameras than this. I just find the price on this phone pretty high for what you're getting here. Apple probably doesn't agree, but that's okay. I don't set the prices. They set the prices. It's their phone. This is just my opinion as a consumer, as a customer of this device. I do believe the price is a little bit too high for what this offers. It could have been like $100 less, maybe even $50 less. Then it would have been more acceptable. But then you could say, well, that's what they got the 13 for. Listen, this phone right here with the competition on the market, I just feel like the price is a little bit too high for what they're offering here. The next one is the 60 hertz on board. Always reminded me that I'm not using anything really different from iPhone 12 and iPhone 13. Yes, the chip is faster. This does hum along the OS quicker because we do have the upgraded A15 Bionic chip, which is actually slightly better than the one in the 13. Just because of the way they design the architecture in there, it's just a little bit more efficient. So it's slightly like a hair quicker than the 13, but not much at all. It just, because we carried over, it just never really felt, like anything huge. If this had 120 hertz, I'd be probably spewing a different story right here. But honestly, guys, 60 hertz on a phone that costs over $800, it's just a no for me. So I just don't want to pay that much and have a 60 hertz panel. And this is one of the big problems with the 14 Plus as well at this current point in time. Now, the next one I can't get over, and I'm just getting tired of this on the regular, the regular iPhones, is the lack of zoom. I know, that these cameras are amazing. Apple, listen, if you're watching this video, you've knocked it out of the park. These video cameras are amazing. The action mode is incredible. I love the results. HDR might overprocess, post-process too much for some people with that sharpening effect that it does. Some people might not like that. And yes, you don't have all the extra incredible RAW modes that we find on the Pro model of phones. But at the same time, I'm just not happy with this. 5x zoom? Come on. Every other phone is giving you some type of longer reach than this right here. And wide angle was fun. It's been fun. Keep it on there. We've had it since the 11 Pro. But let's get some more zoom. You don't got to go 50x, but 5x, like even the older iPhone 10 could do 10x. So weak sauce zooming on this phone. Hands down, one of the worst purchases if you want to reach further and get onto subjects that are further out in your photography, or videography. The next one is that this phone right here doesn't charge very fast for a phone in 2023. Phones charge much quicker through their USB-C ports than this dated lightning port right here. Not saying it's terribly slow. You go to bed, throw it on the charger, everybody's waking up with 100, but you're inching for some more. You need some battery. You're about to head out the house. You got to go to the club. You got to go party, whatever you're doing, and you came home from work and you just need a quick charge. It's not happening with this guy. you're not getting everything you need. So for those people out there who aren't, at home all day or not near chargers all day, a lot of people are, but if you're not and you're not having responsible charging habits, you're not going to be able to get like really fast charging on here where you're like, whatever, my phone charges in 30 minutes, not this one. So definitely they could speed that up. The next one is, I talked about a little bit earlier, but the Apple A15 Bionic chip in this phone keeps this phone feeling recycled. I don't like knowing in the back of my mind that I have the same CPU as last year. I know that, we really don't see the difference between 60 or not 60 hertz, the A15 and A16. The average person can't tell the difference between a 14 Pro and a 14, but I know in the back of my head, Apple, you use the same chip as last year. You're charging me as a new phone. You should have called this thing the 13S. The 14 Pro and the 14 Pro Max, those are the true 14 model phones. Everybody knows it. So definitely, I would say with the 14, I just got to say this A15 chip, while it's blazing fast, it's blowing away most of the competition, still, I would have rather had the A16 and this chip. In this phone, I just would have rather had that. I just know that this phone feels a little bit weird having last year's chip. I know. It's just something that was a con for me. I just like knowing I bought a new phone. I have the latest chip in this one. I don't like telling people over and over again, look guys, 13 has the same chip. I don't really like that. Next one, not a super appealing design anymore. They took the cameras, went like this, turned them sideways, and called it the iPhone 13, and now the 14 carries that over. They're also getting bigger and bigger, which is cool if you're into photography. Some people really don't like how they look when they get bigger and bigger and bigger. A lot of people like the clean single camera design of iPhone XR, iPhone SE. But listen, guys, the iPhone 14 here, just not super appealing in its looks anymore. Not that it's bad, it's industrial. They knocked it out of the park with the iPhone 12. It's remained solid. It's kind of like an appliance. It just works really well. There's nothing that really needs to be really super changed about it. It just works, but that same old gets boring after a while. You got to spice it up with these new colors, and I do like the blue. Don't get me wrong, I love the blue. But definitely, they need to spice it up, change it up a little bit. I think it's time again. After this one, we had the 11, which was curved, then they switched over to 12, 13, 14. That's 3 models. They better not do this one again. I just want to see something slightly different and make it feel like a new phone next year. We need something different, a little bit of change every 3-4 years or so. Some people say 5. I say 3 or 4. It starts to get a little bit long, a little bit long wait time for a different design right there. The next one is that the competition seems to be offering more bang for the buck. Google Pixel 7s, for example, 7 Pros, these phones are not much more, and sometimes with sales, cheaper than your base 14. So yeah, we need to get a little bit better bang for the buck here with the next one. I feel like they nailed it with the iPhone 11. That year was a great year. They brought like a little bit of a different camera experience, a really upgrade over the XR. Similar phone all around, but it had a nicer chip. It had a nicer camera system. Just felt like a really great value. Now, the 14 is a great phone indeed, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't have that lust, that doesn't have that pull that the iPhone, you're just not lusting after this phone like you was for the iPhone 11, as a value proposition. I don't feel it as much for this one, and I think some would agree. We talked about no USB-C earlier, and we need that here. That's a con. No USB-C. Reason it's a con is not just because the Android competitors have it. We all know Apple doesn't give a hoot what Android does. They do what they want, and you're going to roll Apple's way or forget you. That's kind of how it seems. But at the same time, if you take a look at Apple's own product line, the iPhones don't have it, but the MacBooks have it. The iPads have it. I mean, how much more do we have to say? Please bring USB-C to the next iPhone. That can also help them speed up the charging speeds as well, potentially. That would be nice. Now, the next one is more of an annoyance, but we just kind of got to accept it. Goodbye SIM card. This has been annoying for some people. You know, it's easy for people who are techie and know how to change stuff out all the time. They're willing to dig in, analyze, and learn how the eSIM works. And yes, it's not that difficult, but explaining this to people who are not very savvy in technology, you know, this is a little bit difficult, and they don't like accepting that stuff. Also, change is not always something that everybody likes either, so that's why Apple can keep these designs around a long time. But us techies, we don't want to see the same design all the time. But this is a major change. This is a change I don't think a lot of people are going to agree with. For me, I haven't really liked it, because now when I want to try out my other Android phones, I want to play around with my other iPhones, now I got to go through my carrier, tell them, look, bro, I'm changing over. And they're going to think I'm frauding if I'm doing it too much. It's taking away freedom. I'm not a fan of this. It's really lame. Overall, it's a little bit of a bottleneck, and I do like that it's just, there's no physical SIM that gets stolen, anything like that. You could just shut that thing off whenever you want. That's really good for security. But long term, it kind of keeps you locked to your phone. Not a fan, especially for people who want to, you know, switch out after a year or whatever. They only have the phone a year, they want to change it, they broke it or whatever, they want to switch out, they want to try Android. No freedom. You're taking away more freedom from me. Super lame. In conclusion, this phone is a well-rounded device. Don't get me wrong. Don't take this video as I hate this phone. I could tell you a bunch of things I love about it. Let me know if you want to see the pros months later of this phone. But I could say overall, it's had a great screen. I like the screen. It's bright, not 120 hertz, but it's bright, very vivid, very nice. The build feels premium, although kind of boring, but still premium. And cameras are excellent, but they're missing the zoom. Battery life is strong too. You notice I didn't say nothing bad about the battery life with this phone. So yeah, those are my cons of iPhone 14. Let me know if you want to see my cons of iPhone 14 Plus, 14 Pro, and if you want to see the pros, the things I really loved about these phones months later. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Stay tuned for upcoming Galaxy S23 content. I'll catch you on the next one. Nick here. Be sure to be well. Peace.